All right, we are visiting with head coach George Prelock. We also have Gavin Smith and Brock Narveson joining us here from the Notre Dame Prep Saints. They are facing off tomorrow night in another edition of Thursday Night Football on the Epic Sports Network. Gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
Hey, we're doing great. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Coach Prelock, we'll start with you. Just give us a little bit of a background on the 2021 Notre Dame Prep Saints and what you guys have been up to. You're coming into this week's this week's matchup with a record of 4-2. Just give us a brief synopsis of your season so far.
Well, obviously, our season didn't really start off how we wanted it to. We had a tough loss against Verado. Had some extenuating circumstances with COVID. Unfortunately, that shut us down. We couldn't get our scrimmage in with Chaparral and had about 3 days of practice before we went into our first game of the season. And obviously, we weren't able to capitalize on some plays. And then on top of that, you could tell those mistakes, those little things that you're able to work out in the scrimmage, we just couldn't really work them out. So that kind of acted as our scrimmage, but, we're not going to make excuses about it. And we've learned from that and moved on and used it as a motivating factor. And then obviously moved on to for Corona del Sol after that, which is 6A team. And playing a bigger school, we always want to make sure that we do the best we can. We don't necessarily have the numbers that the other schools have. So we have more players going both ways than most. But our kids always battle, and they have been throughout this entire year. We were able to get that. We saw us on the TV game against Brophy. And defense played extremely well that game. And offensively, unfortunately, we struggled, but we were able to bounce back the next game, a couple games after that. And we've really been on a roll lately and just hope to carry that momentum into this week's game against Maricopa.
Coach, it is a great thing about a season. It's a long season, and a lot of things can happen. The momentum can change, as you mentioned, from Verado. Things can change over the course of a season. And over the last 3 games, your defense has been super strong, as well as your offense, holding Mountain View to 9 points, shutting out South Mountain and Campo Verde, 2 straight shutouts. So what has it been about your defense so far over the last 3 weeks that has gotten your team in a position that it has with 3 straight victories and shutting 2 teams out consecutively?
Well, when it comes down to it, my defensive coordinator, Coach Smith, who's been with me forever, does an outstanding job of getting the players prepared, and the players have bought into it. We practice hard. He puts pressure on them during practice, and it makes the games easier. We put them through a lot of scenarios, which allows them to perform at a high level. We've been able to capitalize on that. So the defense has really been playing outstanding, and we've made big plays. And because our kids are in the right position, they've been able to capitalize.
Now, Coach Prelock, we're talking about your staunch defense. We got one of your defensive stars joining us here tonight in Mr. Brock Narveson, one of your linebackers. Brock, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Doing great. How are you?
Hey, we're doing great. You are having a whale of a season. You got 43 total tackles, and a lot of times, Ed, you see that total is broken down with a majority of those being assists and then just a couple of solos. This guy has 33 solos with 10 assists, and oh, by the way, 7.5 TFLs to go with that. What do you attribute your defensive prowess to, Brock? Is it a lot of time in the weight room? Is it getting in the playbook? Is it a combination of all those things?
Yeah, I think it's a combination. I mean, putting in the work and watching film is the biggest thing for me. I don't think I'm the most athletic, strongest, fastest kid, but when you think about it and watch film and really break down, you can figure out schemes and put yourself in the right position. And I think Coach Smith helps me with that a lot. We bounce ideas off each other and we figure out the great game plan to go into games, and we're able to execute. So,
and James also, he has 3 interceptions. Oh. Let me aid you by that. 3 interceptions with 78 interception yards return. So Brock, I was just watching some of the huddle video on you. It's just the way that you position yourself, and I like the way you move your feet around, and it's your vision and the way you just see the field and you kind of see how plays develop. Is that how it really works out in your mind when you're seeing plays like that happen and you get interceptions and you're able to knife through an offensive line and make a stop back there in the backfield? What really goes through your mind when you're making these plays?
Yeah, I think playing both ways really helps me because I understand how offenses work, and I can really see like the plays draw out in my head. And as I mentioned, watching film, I see like their tendencies, what their guards or the running backs like to do, and I can play off that. And right as I see them do something, hit a gap and make a play. So,
Brock, we talk a lot of times, especially on the defensive side of the football, about alignment, assignment, and technique. And let's not overcomplicate the game of football. It's always been about blocking and tackling, and always will be. How true is that statement? When you are really sound in your alignment, assignment, and technique, you can really do well, especially on defense.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I mean, putting yourself in the right position to make plays is the biggest thing. Right off the snap, if you're in the right position to make a play, you have like 50% more chance to make it. I mean, executing plays is huge. I think, yeah, as I said, putting yourself in the right position is like that's the only thing. If you're not in the right position to start a play, you're not really going to make the play. So
Mr. Smith, for you, you lead the team in receiving yards, and you are an outstanding punter. A 70-yard punt this season. Congratulations on that with the special teams and just doing it from the receiving end. What is it about this offense, Gavin, that allows you to do what you've done? You've got 2 touchdowns, over 400 yards receiving. And also, how important is it for you to do what you do on special teams to flip the field and make it a little bit harder for the opposition to get scores because of what you're able to do from a punting standpoint?
Oh, well, on offense, we're really run heavy. So every time I get a chance to run a route, the DBs are really aggressive and expect to run. So I'm kind of able to set them up easier. And then the punting, I honestly just kind of started that this year. And our special teams coach, Coach Siegel, has been coaching me for like 7 years. So we have a really good like connection, and he kind of helps me out every practice.
We're visiting here with Gavin Smith, wide receiver, and actually Mr. Do Everything for the Notre Dame Prep Saints. This guy's a wide receiver. Ed, you didn't see that he had 9 tackles on defense as well. This guy mixes the Gatorade. He drives the bus to and from the road games. Tell us a little bit, Gavin, about how important you think it is to be so versatile and really maybe increase your chances of possibly playing at the next level. We see a lot of guys who get a chance at the next level, being a special teams player or making some kind of a special play like that. How do you think that versatility will bode for you?
I think it's great because I don't want to be limited to one position once I move on with my career. And if I get to college and they want me to play defense or special teams or offense or really any position, I'm open for it. So I think getting experience in high school is going to be big for me.
Coach, for you, the importance of your running game, you're averaging about a little over 180 yards a game. You've got 13 touchdowns through these games. How important is it to have that running game and establish such a strong force with your offensive line, creating everything for your running backs to do what they do?
Yeah, well, first off, that's kudos to our offensive line coach, Coach Bush, Coach Fox, our offensive coordinator, and specifically our offensive linemen. We're senior heavy. We have 4 senior offensive linemen: Jake Burrow, Grant Gage, Matt Reinhardt, and Dylan Johnson, and they do a great job. So, when you have guys like that can get out there and play, and Duke Fry is another one who goes both ways. When all those kids are out there and you have that senior leadership, it makes it a lot easier. Anytime you can run the ball and control the middle of the field, it's going to open up everything else. And that's just football. So whether it be the play action or whether, there's something to be said about saying, we're running the ball, we're running it, and do something about it. So anytime you have that type of attitude, I think that carries over, especially with our defense playing so well. We're able to control the clock when we're able to run the ball. So it keeps the defense fresh. It allows them to play fast. These 2 guys play defense as well and just fly around the ball and make those plays. And then for these guys also as receivers, when they get their opportunities, it's there because not necessarily everyone's thinking that we're getting ready to pass the ball. So, between the 5 offensive linemen, our seniors, the 5 that I mentioned, they do a great job. So we're just blessed to be in that position where you can run the football. I think you say any coach out there, they'd say, well, what would you rather do, be run or pass heavy? Well, you want to be run heavy, right? If it's one or the other. So that's always an advantage when you can do what we're able to do right now.
It's so refreshing to hear you guys talk almost immediately when we ask you about a certain aspect of your football team, about your assistant coaches and their importance and how much they mean to your football team. Coach Prelock, what does it mean to you as the head coach to have guys in those positions as an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator that you can send them out to practice and they're going to dial your guys in just the way you like and to make sure that they're ready to go on Friday nights and Thursday nights as well for this week, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge advantage because one, you're able to collaborate, and two, for a number of years, I used to call the offense, and it's time consuming between being a head coach and dealing the day to day things that you got to deal with. And then last year, especially with COVID, I mean, I think any coach in America will tell you it was just different. So as much as a lot of coaches are control freaks and want to control everything, it's important to be able to delegate and use guys in terms of what they're really good at. And that's what my coaches are. And more so than anything, they care about our student athletes. And that's a big thing. I mean, ultimately, X's and O's, we're blessed to have great kids and great coaches, and we're teaching more than just X's and O's. And I want coaches that are going to be here that are going to provide a great experience for our young men and, just be able to develop them into being young men and carry them on for the rest of their lives. So anytime you have guys that you trust like that, you're blessed, and we're blessed to be here.
Brock, the Maricopa Rams have a wealth of talent offensively. Kyrie Washington is an absolute monster at wide receiver. He's got 7 touchdowns. Brock, when you watch them on film, what do you see from the Rams? Do you see what do you see from Kyrie and everybody else that's on offense for them?
Yeah, I see a lot of big plays made. They have, like you said, he's a great athlete. They have a lot of athletes at wide receiver, and they're able to make big plays. They made a couple of big plays against Cesar Chavez the other week, and they were able to throw the ball consistently a little bit. So I think just dialing it up in practice as we have and putting ourselves in the right positions, as we said earlier, is really going to help us execute in this game.
Gavin, what would it mean to you? You guys are coming off a really successful season last year. You were a semifinal team, losing, unfortunately, in the semifinals to a very good Ironwood Eagles football team. You guys are riding that momentum into this season, going into this week at a 4-2 record. What is it going to take to get you guys back into the playoff hunt and then back into a deep playoff run like you had last season?
We had a lot of seniors graduate the last 2 years, so we're still kind of building that connection as a team. And I think we've already seen that as the season goes on, we get better and better. And I think this week we just need to put together 4 quarters instead of 2 or 3. That's been one of our big problems. And I think I think we had a good week of practice, and I think that it seems a lot better now than it did at the beginning of the year as a whole.
Coach, we know section games are always tough. You only get 5 of them this year. You were successful in the first one against Campo Verde last week, and of course taking on Maricopa. The importance of getting that hope for you getting that victory tomorrow night, Thursday night, and continuing on. I'm sorry, at 2-0 in the section. The importance of getting a victory tomorrow night against Maricopa.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, arguably we got one of the more talented regions in all of 5A. And that's not disrespecting any other region. They're just, you look at perennially who's good and who's made the playoffs. It's challenging. So we know that each and every game is important. And we know, because the success we've had in the past, the history we've had, we're always going to get everyone's best shot. So we got to make sure week in, week out that we're prepared. And that's been our thing. We always try and just take it one game at a time. I tell the players, take it one practice, one play, and one game at a time, and everything will work itself out. So this week it's Maricopa, and we know that they're extremely talented. They got a lot of young athletes. They got a young team playing number of sophomores in key positions, but those kids can play. So we have to be ready, because especially anytime you're playing a TV game and you have school roll in, it's gonna be a tough battle. So we want to make sure we're doing everything that we're prepared heading into tomorrow night, and I feel like we've done that this week.
We've been visiting here with head coach George Prelock, wide receiver Gavin Smith, and a linebacker Brock Narveson from the Notre Dame Prep Saints. They'll be our Thursday night football game of the week tomorrow night against the Maricopa Rams. That kicks off at 7 p.m. We'll be on the air, Ed Cole and myself, at 6:50 p.m. Join us on the Epic Sports Network. It's going to be a great one. Gentlemen, we appreciate you taking the time out with us here this evening, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on the field at Maricopa High School.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking time to speak with us. Have a great night.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank
You guys as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right,
You as
you
well.
too. Bye-bye.
Too.